Hi everybody. Hey, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. I do Wellness Wednesday in my Facebook group, and that's where I go live at 11 a.m. every Wednesday, just to kind of bring you some insights on what I'm learning while I'm going through school to become a functional practitioner. And so we're really going to be getting into a very hard subject, which is anxiety. And as we all know, it is on the rise worldwide. And we're living in some very stressful times, and I think we can all agree with that. Very stressful, very difficult times, and people that experience anxiety really have some difficult times getting through this. And so, being that times are uncertain, I just wanted to come here live and just kind of give you some of my insights on that. So I do have a very long and personal experience with anxiety. I've experienced it off and on since I was a teenager, specifically my senior year in high school. And I started out with a lot of issues with self-confidence. I have dyslexia and didn't learn to read until I was in the early third grade. And so I always felt stupid. I always felt dumb. I always felt less than. And I just felt like I never measured up. And that, of course, caused me a lot of anxiousness. And that kind of stuff really wasn't talked about much, dyslexia and anxiety and things like that, and depression just really wasn't talked about much. You just pulled up your bootstraps and you kept going. And I really did try to do that. I tried to do my best, to cope. And, as I said, senior in high school, that's when everything kind of really got worse for me, and I just didn't understand what was happening. I lost a lot of days at school. Just didn't want to go to school. And so I kind of coped through all of that up until my 30s. When I turned 30, my parents and my brother were killed in a car accident. And for me, that was really the catalyst of the downward spiral that I had experienced. That really put me into what I feel like was chronic mental illness. I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't sleeping properly. It was getting over, that difficult time in my life. It just seemed like it was a uphill battle all the time. And so for 20 years, I was spiritually, mentally, and physically hobbling through life. And at times I really didn't want to keep going. Just a lot of physical pain, mental pain, just seemed too hard. And every time I felt like I was, getting a grip on things, then I would backslide again. And I really just didn't understand why God wouldn't just take this away from me. It felt like a thorn in my side, constantly. And so I really did a lot of praying, and I just wanted so badly to help myself, but I just didn't know how to do it. Later on, in my 30s, or actually early 40s, I went to nursing school, and I had practiced as a nurse for several years, but you guys kind of know the story. I just didn't connect with the allopathic care. I didn't connect with all of the medicines that were being handed out. Hey, let's cut this out, and let's put a patch on that, and let's give you a fistful of prescriptions. I just over time knew that was not the way. I just didn't resonate with that. So I did leave the traditional nursing jobs, and being that I did that, once again, I felt like a failure and a loser and less than. And so that anxiety just took it up a whole nother notch. And, I would have meltdowns daily, and suddenly I never knew when they would come on. They would last, anywhere between 30 minutes and 3 hours. So I really started isolating myself, and it just seemed like it was the best thing for me to do, was just sequester, keep myself away from people. And at that time I was just on prescription everything, Xanax and SSRIs, which is an anti-depression medication, pain medications, sleep medications, all, in my opinion, I just felt like I was keeping my head above water. But I knew that I had a real problem. And I guess I just figured that it wasn't me, but it was. That problem, it was me. It was all the things that I was choosing to do and choosing to think and choosing to eat, choosing to put in my body and breathe. And I was depleted mentally and physically and spiritually at that point. And I needed to change. I knew I needed to change, or I wasn't going to see my next birthday. So I really started, doing a lot of studying and researching, going back to the medical roots a little bit, did a lot of praying, and all of the things that I was doing, as I said, I realized it wasn't serving me. I was having negative thoughts, wasn't talking nice about myself. I was eating junk, crap foods. My staple was cookies. That's not going to serve my body. I was taking excess medications, way too much stress, and I was letting stress get the better of me. And then, of course, that all, not sleeping. That's a big problem, you've got to sleep. And all that was overwhelming me and making me sick. And so, my body and my mind, especially when you get to a certain age, started to rebel. And so some of the things that I was learning, it just seemed so simple today when I have a clear mind. But I complicated it by not consistently taking care of myself daily. I needed to feed my spirit. I needed to nurture my body. I needed to be kind to myself. And so knowing all of this stuff today, I wanted to do this live to kind of give you some of my main takeaways, some of the things that I've learned, over the course of the last 23, almost 24 years. And so those takeaways would be, number one, I need God. I need that relationship with Him. And He wants one with me. And I realized this, that I need to connect with Him every single day. And really everything that I do is based on being kind to someone, or being good to someone, or offering some of the things that I've learned along the way. So I really needed God. Number two is I was my own worst enemy. I mentioned crap food, stress, negative thinking. All that stuff was not serving me. Toxic medication, those are all damaging every cell in my body, and it just was causing me to get sicker and sicker and sicker. And number three, I can change. I don't have to be stuck where I'm at. I hold the key to my own health, and so do you. My genes do not define me. If you've got a gene that says that you are more prone to this or you're more prone to that, maybe so. But the things that you do on an everyday basis can cause those genes to be turned on or to be intensified. And I know that I was definitely doing that. So what I eat, think, and slather on my body, I realize now that all adds up. And really my health depends on me, making those right decisions, and not just, here and there, but every single moment of every single day. And then the last one that I really realized was I am worthy. I'm worthy. Kindness. Kindness is my bank account, and giving to others is my passion. And that's really why I'm telling you all of this and revealing all these things that happened to me in my life, was because I want to offer you hope that you can overcome anxiety or anything that is going on in your life with your spirituality, your your health, your mental well-being, your physicalness, that it all can change. And it's really up to you and the changes that you make with your diet, your sleep, your thinking, your spirit. Doing these things consistently day after day can absolutely help calm your anxiety and bring you towards a healthier life all the way around. So yesterday in my group, I asked, do you have any questions on anxiety before I go live today on Wellness Wednesday? And one of the girls that's in there said, and her name's Becky Ryans. I want to give a shout out to Becky. I appreciate you asking the question. She had a really great question, and she wanted to know what is the difference really between depression or anxiety. And there is some differences. They are kind of similar They do have some subtle similarities, but depression to me is really when you have intense feelings of sadness, and they are so overwhelming that you start feeling helpless and hopeless and worthless. And this all can last for more than just a few days. Feeling tired and apathetic. You can feel suicidal and perhaps have a suicide attempt. Those are all possible, and that's really what depression to me is. Now, anxiety is more of a persistent feeling of fear, of constant worry and unease. You just have this feeling of dread, like you've got a cloud above your head all the time. And with anxiety, you can absolutely get mental or emotional breakdowns, like I was telling you about my meltdowns. Anxiety can absolutely bring on depression, guys, and depression can bring on anxiety. So a lot of times they do go hand in hand. It's almost like they're little shadows of each other, if you will. But anxiety and depression, it's very normal to feel those things, and they are expected emotions in life. When things go wrong or things go bad, and people experience divorce, and they move away from home, or a death in the family, unhealthy work environment, a family member in crisis. All those things can bring about anxiety and depression. But when it becomes a problem, when it continues on and it lasts over those just few days, you realize before you know it, you're in a full-blown physical and mental illness crisis. And I really got a great story that kind of I feel like I resonate with both of these situations. I'm going to tell you the story of two frogs, and like I said, I feel like I understand how these two frogs work really well, because I've experienced both of the things that they've done. But two frogs lived on a farm. They were hanging out on top of a hay bale, and they fell into a big pail of milk that they had just gotten. And these two frogs were obviously in danger. And one of the frogs said, "You know what? I'm not going to make it out of this alive, so I'm just going to give up." And he sunk to the bottom. The other frog decided, I don't want to die. I don't want to leave this life. I've got a family. I want to keep going. I want to get out of here. And he started to, really work and tread the milk and try to keep himself above water, above the surface, so he could keep breathing. And this went on for like an hour and a half, and he was getting really desperate and very tired and very upset, and he just was like, I just don't know if I can keep going. But somewhere inside of him, he found the power to keep going. And about 5 more minutes after he decided I'm going to keep going was when the milk started to become a solid. It became butter, and he was able to walk on top of that butter and hop out of the pail and go back to his family. And so I really think that I resonate with both of those frogs. I get given up. I really do. I tried to give up a couple of times in my life, but thank God I did not. And I kept going. And I made that cream, I made it butter. And I hopped out of the pail. And does that mean I'm not going to have any more bad times or difficult times or feel extreme anxiety or any of that kind of stuff? No, that doesn't mean that. But what it does mean is I've learned that if I keep going and I keep trying, that I can absolutely get out of that situation, and the next day will be better. So my point is we have to be proactive and, do whatever you can to keep that good attitude whenever you're in a crisis. And the best thing I can tell you is, if you suffer with anxiety, is really support your nervous system. You've got to rest. You've got to eat really clean. And believe it or not, if you do that and you give it to God, you will get better. And I'm a fan of therapy. Therapy is also beneficial, and it's important to learn different tools on how to cope with some of those anxieties that we have in life. Talk to your pastor, talk to a trusted friend, because we are all part of our own solution. And honestly, we're not designed to be stressed and constantly toxic and inflamed and infected and malnourished and unrested. We were actually made and born to have vibrancy and to feel healthy and happy and thrive and grow and feel well. And that's why I say what we eat, and what we think and the people we associate with and how well we're getting a good night's rest and, getting sun and getting out in nature every day, all of that can bring us closer to better health and really calm down our nervous system, give us a sense of balance. So for me, I feel like several root causes of mood imbalances and anxiety that I have been learning in the studies that I am doing are, number one, life. Like I mentioned earlier, emotional trauma, stress, shame, fear, disappointment, unmet expectations, all of that can cause anxiety. And for sure, chronic anxiety, which lasts over, the course of months and even years. And if it's not dealt with and managed, you're going to get exacerbated anxiety for sure. So self-care, meditation, talk with your, supportive friend and pastor, reach out. We're not, as humans, we're not meant to walk alone. We're not meant to be apart from each other during difficult times. You need to reach out and let someone know what's going on. So number two is sleep. You've got to get good rest. That is so tied into your nervous system and it's so tied into your anxiety. We talked about the importance of sleep a few weeks back on one of my lives that I did in my Facebook group. And so lack of sleep really contributes to increased cortisol. And that can cause anxiousness and an inability to cope with life's daily stressors. So getting a good night's rest is absolutely key. And so if you didn't get that handout and you want it, absolutely comment below and I will get that to you through Messenger, or you can even give me your email, whatever is best for you. But another one that I'm learning is insufficient nutrients. We have to have good nutrients and things like omega fatty acid. Those are so important to our brain health, our nervous system health. Amino acids, B vitamins, especially B6, magnesium. Guys, over 80% of all humans on Earth right now are magnesium deficient. And magnesium is basically the catalyst for all other nutrients. So if you don't have magnesium, you're gonna have a problem with your nervous system, and no wonder you're having anxiety attacks. No wonder you're having, meltdowns and panic attacks and things like that. We have to have magnesium in our system. We have to. Good protein, that's another one. That's pasture raised, berries, green leafy vegetables. Do the best you can to get them organic. If your budget allows. All of this that's combined on a day-to-day basis, that can all help you to fulfill your body's nutrient quota. And that's really what your body needs. It needs to be fed every day. So number four, another thing that I'm learning about, and it blows my mind. I knew that we as a society, as America, are taking way too many medications. We have a pill for every ill. And there's more medications coming out and we're sicker. We're not better. From all these medications coming out, we're no more better than what we were 50 years ago when we had limited medications. So really, medications are all considered toxins to the body. They're all chemically created, something our bodies don't recognize. There's really nothing natural about them. They can help you with your symptoms. But every time that you do take a medication, whether it's over the counter or it's a prescription from your doctor, your body is working overtime to get that toxin out of your body. The liver does all it can to get it out of the bloodstream and really to protect your body. So medications are not evil. I feel like there's definitely a time and a place for medications. Most of the medications that were created were meant to be temporary until your body could take over when it got healthier, and but unfortunately over time it can cause imbalances in your body, which can cause anxiety. So consider getting to the root of the problem rather than just taking a medication and covering up a gaping wound. So really the body's job is always to stay balanced, but it's really up to us to give it what it needs to help the body to do that job effectively. So got to ask yourself, why is almost 40% of the American population struggling with anxiety? And it's really because, and I'm going to say it all over again, nutrition, poor food habits, toxins, things that we take by mouth or inject or put on our body, stress, lack of sleep, and just not having the support and education to make the best decisions to have a healthy life. So we really do have to look at our body as a whole and start feeling better. Help yourself to decrease that anxiety. And I do have a handout of some of the top things that I feel has helped me with my anxiety. And so if you'd like that, just comment below that you'd like to have that anxiety handout. I'll do my best to get that to you before the next Wednesday's Wellness Wednesday Facebook Live. And so I'd like to go over next week some of the things that I take supplement-wise and other tools that I use to help keep my anxiety under control. And I do have a whole nother story on that. So comment below if you'd like to have that anxiety handout. I'll get that to you, as I said. And, if you would like to share this on your Facebook page, or you can privately send it to somebody that you feel like could really use, some of this message that I'm talking about. And that's what I always say is that's what we're here for. We're here to help each other navigate through this world. It's a tough world right now, especially with all the things that are going on, and we just it's very uncertain. And so we need everybody's support. We need everybody to put a hand out to help other people up. So that's all I've got for you guys today. I just so appreciate you taking the time to join me. And I, as always, adore you. I want you to show somebody some love today. And I'll see you next Wednesday on Wellness Wednesday, where I'm going to talk about some supplements and some other tools that I have done to help me with my anxiety. So you guys have a fantastic day. And the Facebook group that I refer to is called Wellness 180 Warriors. So if you're not a part of that group, or you know somebody that might really get some good nuggets from that, I would love you to join. You can find me on Facebook. And I really appreciate you. Again, my name is Kendra Stetler. Have a great day.